Hey, good morning. Pastor Chris here. Welcome to Poolside Chat. Star Trek. For those of you who remember, I was a big Star Trek fan. There was a episode on the original Star Trek back in the 60s where these two aliens beam up to the Enterprise and they fight. They just want to kill each other. And they're using every means possible. Such hatred. And they get on the bridge of the Enterprise towards the end of the episode, and they're like, we don't understand. And the planet they came from is in ruins, absolutely destroyed. And the aliens are like, look at him. And the crew is looking, and these people are half black, half white, right down the center. And it's like, look at him. It's like he's white on the right side. And they're like, I'm white on the left. And that's the reason they hate each other, because of some physical attribute. They beam back down to their planet and the fight continues. They're going to destroy this entire group of people over the way they look. Gene Roddenberry created this. He had some great episodes, so let me encourage you to watch the original Star Trek. Went to breakfast with a friend this week, and he told me he doesn't really understand prejudice, how someone can hate somebody else based on how they look. And we were talking, this came up with the Palestinians and the Jews. Well, annihilate a people just because they're Jewish. And this can be anything. It can be black, it can be white, it can be large, it can be gender, male, female, or it can be, others, whatever other you want to be. It can be sexual orientation, it can be immigration, it can be anything. And he didn't understand why. And I think there's a great story in Scripture that kind of explains this a little bit. For those of you who go to church, you've heard the story of the woman in the well, and I'm sure almost all of you have heard this story. How Jesus goes to a well, he's in Samaria. It says we must go through Samaria. So at this time, there was a hatred of the Jews towards the Samaritans. Goes back to the time of the captivity, and how these Jewish people who were left or who were sent to refill this area of Palestine, of Judah, mixed with the non-Jewish people. We call them half-breeds. And instead of taking a straight path up to get from the south to the north, they would go around Samaria just so they wouldn't have to go through Samaria. Considers people dirty. Jesus tells his disciples, no, we got to go through here. And he sits at a well. A woman comes to him, a Samaritan woman. And Jesus is talking to her. And the woman is shocked. Why are you, a Jew, talking to me, a Samaritan woman? 1, Samaritan. 2, woman. 3, the time of day she was there was not she was a woman of ill repute, we would say. Every reason not to talk to her, but he did. He spent time with her. And what we kind of skip over in this part, to remember the hatred, Jews and Samaritans. She tells the men in Samaria, come and see this guy. The disciples are there, good Jewish men, and they don't like it because they're Samaritans, but they follow Jesus, they listen to him. And it says he stays on 3 days, 2 nights. And I think we forget that fact, that for 3 days they're talking, they're eating, they're sharing with each other, learning about each other. And I would dare say it broke down that barrier. So, why does racism happen? Why does prejudice happen? I think it's learned. It's learned through our behaviors, the people we associate with, the stories, our reactions to different people. And how do we overcome it? We look at this story of the Samaritan woman. Not just the woman, but the rest of the Samaritan men that come too. Because in Scripture we see these prejudices. We see rich versus poor. We see them Jew and Gentile. We see them Jew and Samaritan. We see them religious, non-adherents of religion. We see it to those who follow the law, those who break the law. And these are all learned behaviors as to how we're to react to these people. And I love the story, as I was thinking of this, of the Samaritan woman. Not just because of the woman, but because of the people that came out. Because they hung out, they talked, they ate, they shared, they learned. And they did it together, and that's how you break down these barriers. So great question. But that's the answer that I have. That's the best one I got. So keep these questions coming. Remember, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, at FL Compass Church. Let your friends know. And now on Facebook, I give my little teases. I'll put pictures out. So thanks for joining today. Have a wonderful weekend. And remember, tomorrow's Sunday, so go to church.